Once you've finished outlining all your seashell drawings with a thin Sharpie, then you're ready to start adding color. We're going to use crayons to add color to our seashells because they're small enough to color in the small details of the seashells, and because after we color our shells, we're going to color in the sand and the water with watercolor colored pencils. So crayons are made of wax, and when we use them with watercolor, then we create something called a wax resist. So where you color with crayons will stay on the paper and it won't mix with the watercolor from the watercolor pencils. When you're using the crayons to color in your shell, you might want to pick out a variety of warm colors. So I chose some different shades of red, orange, yellow, pink, and some different tans and browns. Because when I observed the shells, I noticed that they were made up of mostly those colors. I'm not just using one color on my seashell here. I colored this one with a light orange, and now I'm adding more detail with a red crayon to make it look a little more realistic and give it some dimension. I'm going over the lines to make them stand out a little bit more here, and the edges of the seashell. I'm adding a little bit of yellow here to make the color a little bit brighter. You can test to see how your colors blend on the back of your paper or on a piece of scratch paper. So I layered orange and brown and tan, and now I'm layering red, and I'm creating a new color when I do that. Next, I'm going to use watercolor colored pencils on the water and the sand area. These look like a regular colored pencil, but you can see that it says watercolor on it. To use these, first you're going to color on your paper with them just like you would color with a regular colored pencil. Don't add any water to them yet. The first step is adding color everywhere that you want the color to be. So I'm coloring in with this light blue here, but I'm going to add some other shades on top to make the water look a little more realistic. In the ocean, we would see more of a green blue as well, and I'm going to add that around. I'm not doing my neatest coloring here because this is going to be blended with water. I don't have to make it super neat, but I do want to get a lot of color on my paper and color all the way up to that wavy line that separates the sand. You can also add in some darker blue to give it a little bit of dimension. Next, I'm going to do the same thing to the sand area. I'm just using this light sort of peach color. I'm going to add a little bit of brown on top and some more orange and yellow to make it look a little more like real sand. I'm going to add color all around the seashells. Now that everything is colored in, I can do the fun part, which is turning the colored pencil into watercolor. For this step, you'll need a messy mat, a water cup, and a paintbrush. And we're just going to paint over the colored pencil area with our paintbrush, and you'll see it turn into watercolor. Try to do the water and the sand separately. When your brush starts to sound a little bit scratchy like this, then you need a little more water. The more color that you added to your paper, the more colorful the watercolor will be. Now I can work on adding color to the sand. Make sure to rinse off your brush when you do this because you don't want to get any blue on your sand. So I'm working on carefully painting along the edge of the water there. And then you can paint right around your seashells. It's okay if you get a little bit of color on your seashells because we used crayon to color in our seashells, which resist the watercolor that we're making by adding water to our watercolor pencils. So it looks like I'm all done with my seashell observational drawing. I hope you had fun creating this project. I can't wait to see how your seashells turn out.